What is up, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark. Today, we're going to be looking at Marvel's legacy numbers, trying to make sense of them, what they are, why they are, as well as give you my take on them and why they're probably a good thing. So don't go anywhere. Check this out. Huge shout out to the channel sponsors, Big Time Collectible. They sponsor the monthly Legion Loot giveaway box for the channel members, so be sure to hit that join button today. And if you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up our friend Justin on Instagram. Be sure to let him know you found him via the channel or hit him with the promo code We Are Legion and take advantage of the special offer he runs for people who watch the channel, as well as this channel sponsor, my local comic shop, the Augusta Book Exchange. Be sure if you're in the area to swing by there and check them out. The links to all of the sponsors, as well as Pop's Attic, is in the description of all my videos. All right, so let's get into it. Marvel Legacy Numberings, or you might simply know it as issue number ones on the shelf every freaking week. It seems like there's always an issue number one for something from Marvel. They're always restarting a series. People say they're rebooting a series, which kind of is a misinterpretation of what they're doing. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at what are these legacy numbers, where they come from, and why they're there, and in my opinion, why they're probably a good thing. So you can't go anywhere without seeing issue number ones from Marvel all over the place. Here's just a few from like the last 12 months. We've had a brand new Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. There's about 50 issue number ones coming from the X titles a week. Hulk number one, and we're about to get a whole nother Hulk number one in a couple of months here. Iron Man number one, Daredevil number one. Why does Marvel keep restarting series? Well, to answer that question, we have to look at what the legacy numbers are. So if you look at the Iron Man title right in the center of the screen, there's a big number one to let you know it's the first issue of the series. Right under that issue number one, you see LGY number 651, legacy number 651. And what a legacy number is, it's an accumulated number of issues of any given series which has been relaunched one or several times. Meaning it might be issue number one, but they're still tracking the numbers from the original issue one all the way to current. And there's a good reason why they do that. And it goes all the way back in the day to when comics were on newsstands and there weren't even shops. Way back in the day, this is what it looked like when you would walk past a newsstand and you would see comics just sitting there. There's a limited amount of space. You see numerous publishers represented here. And if you notice, this is why we have fancy trade dresses on comics as well. You cannot see the full cover. All you get is that little top sticking up. And notice how all of the comics have those big, bold trade dresses that welcome readers in, that excites them. That's why they're so dynamic. And the trade dresses are even works of art themselves. Now, back in the day, when Marvel started seeing the huge success that the superhero genre was getting, they really started to push their heroes. They only had limited space at these newsstands, so much so that they had to rent space from National Comics, or better known as DC Comics. And they had limited space that they were able to rent. They only had a handful of slots. So what did they do? They doubled up their titles. They had Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense, and Strange Tales that were all pretty much monster anthologies that they switched over and started pumping superheroes in. And on top of that, they doubled up the superheroes. So if you look at the trade dress across the top of the title, you see where Tales to Astonish, right there in big letters, Incredible Hulk, Submariner. This isn't a team-up book. Those are separate stories inside of the one title. Tales of Suspense featured Iron Man and Captain America in two separate stories, and Strange Tales featured Doctor Strange and Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, they would have either one book that was like split up between the two, or they would alternate titles or alternate the featured character on the cover. But after a while, when sales started picking up and Marvel started doing better with the huge explosion in the Silver Age that they had, they started getting more space, more room, more space for their titles and their characters to breathe. So these titles ran their course and they spawned their own individual books. And this is where legacy numbering starts, right here. The final issue of Tales to Astonish was issue number 101. It featured the Incredible Hulk and the Submariner. The very next issue that came out featured the Incredible Hulk 102 in his big premiere issue. Right there on the cover, big premiere issue. That's his first issue of his second volume. He had 6 issues back in the 60s, and then we get down to issue number 102 is technically issue 7 if you do not count the Tales to Astonish run. Now, we did have 2 characters in there, so what do we do with the other one? He gets his own issue. Issue number 1 of the Submariner, right there. So that's how you kind of start explaining the legacy numbering. Where that says Incredible Hulk 102, it's technically Hulk number 7. Or if you want to count the issues that he was in Tales to Astonish from 59 to 101, It's like 42.48. That's like issue 51 or so. So it gets really convoluted, and that's why they do it, so that old-time collectors can really track it. Now, out of Tales of Suspense, you had Captain America issue number 100, which is his big premiere issue, as well as Iron Man number 1 getting his own title within issue 1. And lastly, from Strange Tales that featured Doctor Strange and Nick Fury, it got us Doctor Strange issue number 169, which is his big premiere issue, and Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. issue number 1. So that explains the necessity for the legacy. Now, there is a huge marketing advantage for it as well, that's why they continue to do it. Now, comics have been around for a really long time. And I'm the first person to say that you cannot cry foul for not being born in 1938. Just get in where you fit in, jump in, but it can still seem very intimidating for new collectors or new readers or new fans and all that. So when you go into a shop and you see that a run is at issue number 800, you don't know where to start. When you see that there's 17,000 X-Men books every single week, you don't know what you need to pick up, what ties into what's important here, what's important there. So you don't know if something's a mini series. But when you see an issue number 1, you feel like that's a safe starting point. It's not a reboot most of the time. It's not a relaunch. It's just a way for them to bookend story arcs and not scare off new readers. And that being the case, I think it's a phenomenal idea. Different publishers have different little marketing strategies to try to bring in more readers, which is great. That's what we want in this hobby. That's what we need in this hobby for it to continue to grow and continue to be successful, is the next set of people coming in to read, or new readers finding the shop at any age, really. But how are you supposed to really do that as effectively when you're at issue number 17,000? It's common sense. So it's a great little marketing strategy. Now, them attaching the legacy numbering to it, that's a fantastic way to let the old-time readers or the people who've been around long enough to realize that this is an issue number 1. We just went from issue 13 to 1. But I know if you're picking up these books and reading them, that's not a relaunch. It's just the next issue. Despite Marvel doing this more frequently now, it's been done to death for decades. You've constantly had series that just get a number 1. There's normally kind of more spaced out. You get a lot more issues, but it's still the same exact thing. The fact that they put that legacy number there lets you know that they're still thinking about the longtime fans, the longtime collectors, the longtime readers. So there's really a win-win. If you've been around long enough to know, you know. And if you haven't, it's a great way to introduce new people to the hobby. I think it's a fantastic idea. Like, I don't think you probably need to do it as often. I'd be curious to know what some of y'all think. Leave me a comment down below. Are you big on the number 1s over and over again? I know that a lot of retailers, it's a great opportunity for them to get exclusive books because, number 1s always sell better. It keeps money coming in. It keeps new readers coming in. Retailers do exclusives for those and can keep a lot more of these shops open. The more successful shops, books, everything, it's just the stronger this hobby will be. And that's what we want, right? We want this hobby to be as strong as possible. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the legacy numberings, the restarting of titles over and over, these multiple volumes of runs. Is it something that you get lost in? Is it something that you understand? That are you for it? Are you against it? I'm definitely curious to hear everyone's thoughts. But don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that join button, become a member of the Legion. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.